name is Audrey, and you're welcome to Stories in Rookie Art. This is the first episode of many I'll be doing. And since it is happening in the week of Easter, which better story to tell than the story of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, which basically is the point of celebrating Easter anyway. So, in this episode, I will be touching on the three main events that led up to I'd say the three main events before, during, and after the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'll be touching first on the Palm Sunday, that is his entry into Jerusalem, which according to Christian traditions happened on the Sunday prior to the day of his crucifixion, which is the Good Friday. In fact, that is also the second main event I'll be touching on. So, what happened on Good Friday is basically his crucifixion. That's the death of Jesus Christ that happened on the cross. And then the third event I will be touching on, maybe I'd say third and final event in this episode, is his resurrection, which according to the traditions of Christians again happened on a Sunday. Okay, so now let's get into it. I'm starting this piece with a simple arc drawn at the bottom of the page. At first glance, it's just a curved line, but to me, it represents something much deeper, a journey that begins with hope, moves through sacrifice, and ends in victory. So I divide this arc into three parts, each one telling a moment in the story of Easter: the triumphant entry into Jerusalem, the crucifixion, and the resurrection. This arc becomes a visual rhythm: a rise, a fall, and a rise again. That is the heart of this story. I begin with the first section of the arc, the entry into Jerusalem. Here, I start sketching the main figures: a donkey and Jesus Christ riding on it. Using simple shapes, ovals, lines, and smaller curves, I slowly build the structure of the figures. Nothing complicated at first, just the basics. Because sometimes the most powerful images begin with the simplest forms. According to the Bible, as Jesus approached Jerusalem with his disciples, he sent two of them ahead into the city. He gave them a very specific instruction. They will find a donkey and its colt, and if anyone questioned them, they were to say, "The Lord has need of it." And just like that, it would be given. So in this scene, I'm not just drawing a donkey, I am drawing obedience, prophecy, and a purpose unfolding. As I continue sketching, I begin to add life to the environment: grass, small stones, a pathway forming beneath their journey. Because this moment isn't static, it's movement, it's an entrance. Then, in the background, I lightly sketch a distant city, a simple representation of Jerusalem. Not overly detailed, but enough to anchor the story. To let you know, this is where everything begins. This part of the artwork feels light, hopeful, full of expectation. because the people believed their king had come. And in a way, he had, just not in the way they expected. But every rise carries with it the shadow of a fall. Now I move into the second section of the arc, the lowest point, the crucifixion. Here, the composition changes. The main focus becomes three crosses. The central cross stands taller, representing Jesus Christ. On either side, two smaller crosses, representing the criminals crucified with him. But in this piece, I make a deliberate choice. I do not draw the bodies. Instead, I hang a veil on the central cross. This veil represents something powerful, the curtain in the temple that separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the people. And when Jesus died, this veil was torn, not partially, but completely. A symbol that access to God was no longer limited. So this veil on the cross becomes a message. The barrier is gone. The distance is removed. Access is open. To deepen the emotion of this scene, I add a crack to the ground, splitting through the landscape. This represents the earthquake described in scripture. But more than that, it represents the weight of the moment. The earth itself responding, the finality of sacrifice, the cost, the impact. In the background, I sketch rays of light, not soft and peaceful, but sharp and dramatic, almost conflicting, because this moment holds both grief and glory, darkness and purpose. And as I build this section, I intentionally give it a heavier tone, less brightness, more shadow, because this is the fall in the arc, the moment where everything seems lost. But the story does not end in darkness. Now I move into the final section of the arc, the rise again, the resurrection. Here, I begin by sketching the entrance of a tomb, stone-like structures, rough edges, a carved opening in rock. To one side, I draw the large stone that once sealed the entrance, rolled away, because something had changed. According to the Bible, Joseph of Arimathea offered his own tomb to bury Jesus. He sought permission from Pontius Pilate to give him a proper burial. And so Jesus was laid there. But the tomb did not remain closed. In this drawing, I bring the scene of life by placing Jesus at the entrance, risen, standing, victorious. I had a halo above him, a symbol of divinity, of glory, of triumph over death. This is not just a return, it is a victory, the final movement in the circle. Now I begin coloring. First, I go in lightly, building a soft foundation. For the first and third sections, the entry and the resurrection, I chose brightness, blue skies, green fields, warm light. Because both moments carry hope. They feel alive, open, full of promise. Then I return with deeper layers, adding richness, contrast, and depth. But when I reach the crucifixion, I shift. The colors become more muted, more dramatic. Hints of shadow, subtle darkness. Not to remove the beauty of the moment, but to honor its weight, because the crucifixion is both a moment of sorrow and a moment of salvation. And when I step back, the arc is complete. A journey drawn in three parts, an entrance filled with hope, a sacrifice marked by pain, and a resurrection crowned with victory. A rise, a fall, and a rise again. This is the cycle of Easter. And maybe it's not just a story on a page. Maybe it's a reminder that even in our lowest moments, the story is not over. Because after the fall, there's always the possibility of rising again. So I think I'm done judging by my very unartistic eyes, or should I say, my artistically untrained eyes. I think I'm good. I need to sign off my name. So I usually sign my art off with a signature Rookie, and then the date. So today is the 1st of April 2026. So I guess I'll name this I think I've decided to name this the Easter Cycle, if it's the kind of story I want to tell through the art. So here we are. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And please share, like, and subscribe, because we need the views, we need more subscribers to get the channel to grow. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. Once again, my name is Audrey, and this is Stories in Rookie Art. Have a good night.